And with that, I'm ready to take your questions.
Reuters.
Thanks, Secretary General. I wonder if I could get your reaction to President Karzai's interview with the BBC this week, in which he said that the entire NATO exercise was one that caused Afghans a lot of suffering, a lot of loss of life, and no gains because the country is not secure. Thanks.
When we take a look at the development in Afghanistan, progress is remarkable. Progress achieved during many years of operation in Afghanistan, progress is remarkable, and it cannot be denied. And whenever I meet Afghans, they express their appreciation for our presence, for all we have done. While we have worked hard to ensure the sovereignty of the Afghan state, we have built up a very strong Afghan security force, now at a level of around 350,000, with the aim to make sure that the Afghans can take full responsibility for the security of their own country by the end of 2014. And we are on track, and I'm confident that the Afghan security forces will be able to take full responsibility by the end of 2014 as planned. We have sacrificed much in blood and treasure to assist the Afghan people, and I have noted with satisfaction that whenever I meet Afghans, they express appreciation for that.
Kuna.
Nawab Khan from the Kuwait News Agency. Sir, how do you see the situation developing in Syria now after the start of the destruction of its chemical weapons arsenal? Thank you.
First of all, I welcome the adoption of a UN Security Council resolution which creates the framework for the elimination of Syrian chemical weapons. This is a huge step forward, and I urge the Syrian authorities, as well as other parties involved, to do all they can to assist the United Nations and the OPCW in carrying out their important task to ensure full elimination of all chemical weapons in Syria within the time frame that has been outlined in the UN Security Council resolution. Having said that, it is, of course, a matter of concern to see that fighting continues in Syria. It is, of course, a matter of concern that maybe more than 100,000 people have been killed in Syria. I urge all parties to stop violence, stop the killings, and initiate a political process that can lead to a political settlement. There is no military solution to the conflict in Syria. We need a political settlement, and I hope it will be possible to organize an international conference next month that could hopefully pave the way for such a sustainable political solution.
We go to NPR over here.
Terry Schultz with NPR and CBS. Mr. Secretary General, the Libyan government has asked NATO for help in reinforcing its security structures, and NATO was looking at what it could do. And do you think perhaps something should have been done more quickly when you see what happened today? And secondly, I know the U.S. mission has had to furlough a few employees because of the shutdown. How concerned are you that the U.S. government shutdown will soon be impacting American contributions to NATO?
First, on Libya, I can confirm that the Libyan authorities have requested NATO assistance to build or reform the security sector. We have been exploring that request for quite some time, and we're still looking into it. You asked me whether we should have acted more rapidly. But let me remind you that Libya is an independent, sovereign state, and obviously it's for the Libyan authorities to decide whether they want external assistance to help build a credible security sector in Libya. Obviously, there are problems in Libya when it comes to security. But still, it is for the Libyan authorities to forward requests for external assistance. We have told the Libyan authorities right from the outset that we stand ready to provide assistance if so requested. We received a request from the Libyan authorities in May this year, and we acted swiftly. Soon after, we sent a team of experts to Tripoli to look closer into that request, and we are now considering the request. Of course, we will also have to take into account recent developments when we're going to respond to that. But I think it's clear to everybody that something needs to be done to ensure stability in Libya. So I have to stress that we acted swiftly after having received the request from the Libyans, but still it's for the Libyans to decide whether they want external assistance. When we received the request, we acted swiftly.
The Americans?
Next question was about the so-called shutdown in the US. What I have noted, first of all, let me stress that obviously I'm not going to interfere with a domestic political debate neither in the US nor in other allied countries. Having said that, I have noted with satisfaction that it seems that US armed forces are exempt from that shutdown, and so far we haven't seen any negative impact on US contributions to NATO-led operations.
Berlingske.
Rune Berlingske. Ahead of the EU Eastern Partnership Summit, a lot of pressure is building on countries like Ukraine. But in a NATO context, where do you see countries like Ukraine when they are actually saying, yesterday there was a message that we are Europeans no matter what, there's no turning back. Do you see Ukraine as a future NATO member?
First of all, the fundamental principle is that we fully respect that each and every nation has the right to choose its partners and alliances freely. As you will recall, we made an important decision at the NATO summit in 2008. At the NATO summit in 2008 in Bucharest, we stated that Ukraine will become a member of NATO, of course, provided that Ukraine so wishes and provided that Ukraine fulfills the necessary criteria. Since then, the new political leadership in Ukraine has stated that Ukraine will pursue a non-bloc policy when it comes to security and foreign policy. We fully respect that. But at the same time, Ukraine has stated that Ukraine wants to continue its partnership with NATO within the NATO-Ukraine Commission. And furthermore, as I indicated in today's introduction, Ukraine has decided to contribute to Operation Ocean Shield for the first time. And across the board, we have seen Ukrainian contributions to NATO-led operations and also to the NATO response force. So Ukraine is actually a very active partner of NATO. We appreciate that, and I had a meeting with President Yanukovych recently, and he reconfirmed Ukrainian interest in continuing and further developing that partnership with NATO. In conclusion, let me stress that I have no doubt that the future of Ukraine lies within Euro-Atlantic cooperation. Again, of course, it's for Ukraine to decide, but I hope the door remains open for a closer Ukrainian relationship with the EU as well as NATO.
Question at the back.
Hello, ANSA News Agency. I will know your reaction to the kidnap of the Libyan Prime Minister.
Yeah, as I said in my introduction, what we can say at this moment is very limited. But if it's confirmed that Prime Minister Zaidan has been abducted, I call for his immediate release. It is of utmost importance that stability and rule of law is fully respected in Libya.
James?
Yes, Brooks Senior James Defense. Again on Libya, setting aside the kidnapping thing, when you say you have to take into account recent developments in Libya, do you mean that you need to reflect those developments in your offer to Libya, or is that a reference to NATO's willingness to offer its aid to the country? And I don't quite understand what the status is right now. You've made your offer, you're waiting a response from Libya, or you don't know who your interlocutors are, or they haven't made up their mind, or what? Thank you.
The status is very clear. We have received a request. We sent an expert team to Tripoli. We are now considering the request as to how we could possibly assist in a way that adds value. In that respect, we also have to coordinate closely with other actors. There are many actors in Libya, national actors, as well as other international organizations like the United Nations, the EU, and we have to make sure that we do not duplicate work and do not waste resources. Any NATO assistance should add value. Of course, I also refer to the security situation. So when I refer to recent developments, it is, of course, also some considerations as to how the security situation will impact on any possible NATO assistance.
AFP.
Are you still concerned by the Turkish decision to buy a missile defense system from a Chinese firm? And have you been in contact with Ankara on this issue recently?
First of all, let me stress once again that it is a national decision to acquire military equipment. That's a fundamental principle within our alliance, that these decisions are national decisions. But having said that, it is, of course, also of utmost importance within an alliance that not only our armed forces, but also our military equipment can work and operate together. I'm confident that the Turkish authorities are aware of that. I have noted the statement by the Turkish president that no final decision has been made yet. And as regards consultations, I can only refer to the fact that within an alliance as NATO, we have continuous consultations with all allies.
Thank you very much. We'll see you at the ministerial soon.